Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Studio 2 of Saddlebrook Studios. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica, and you're listening to NPR Radio.
Welcome to Tea and a Butty podcast.
Yay!
This is episode 255 now, isn't it?
Something like that. We're finished with the food series.
We're finished with the food series.
Food series number 1, anyway. I'm sure there will be another food series.
There will be another food series about something later on in the program. This is just a little one-off episode about Victoria.
Yes.
The
PBS show.
The ITV show. Or to be fair, right now it is a PBS show because they're airing the third series and the UK doesn't get it.
That's so weird.
Yes, irate UK viewers are going, What's going on? Why aren't you showing my Victoria?
Why is America getting it first? It's our history.
It's our history, not yours. You don't have a queen. You got rid of your king.
No, but I mean, it must be just because Masterpiece does it.
Well, Masterpiece have, it's a co-production as far as I know.
Yeah.
And it's scheduling in England too, in Britain.
Yeah, ITV just doesn't have room in the schedule at the moment, I guess. It does seem weird, though. I mean,
I don't know what they're putting on, Dancing on Ice or something.
Oh, gee.
I think that's what they're putting on, and they're just
that's
like,
really
we can't.
Sad if that's got a bigger audience. Like,
I think
we've got to prioritize this. This
as a side note, ratings. I think Britain invented reality television and all that kind of stuff.
It seems like.
I mean, I know it's a competition show, but reality
game
shows. I think they invented, all this kind of like Big Brother and all that. I think that actually came from Britain.
American Idol.
Unless, if I'm not very much mistaken. Yes, all that talent stuff, But yes, Victoria, we covered why is it airing over here in the third series anyway.
So the first episode was, 2 weeks ago, I guess, if we want to say that yesterday, Sunday, was the second episode.
Yeah. I think it's every week, isn't it?
It's every week, yeah, but this is the second episode, so it was a week ago or something. Whether we're considering yesterday, this week, or last week at this point.
Yes. All the days run together. The first series, if you've never seen it, it's about Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1846, I think, to 1901.
Don't look at me. She's your queen.
I wasn't there, but, she didn't reign. I mean, she was Britain's longest reigning monarch until Queen Elizabeth II surpassed her recently.
Yeah.
As 60 years or something on the throne or something it was.
If you haven't seen it and you're into period dramas, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. If you're into British period dramas, which is pretty much all PBS offers.
Yeah.
I mean, even the detective shows. Father Brown is a period detective show. It's set in the 60s. But Victoria, it stars Jenna Coleman as, if you've watched Doctor Who, she was the companion to Matt Smith's Doctor and Peter Capaldi's for a time.
Yeah, and people hated her with Peter Capaldi for some reason.
I don't know.
We won't get into Doctor Who right now.
Doctor Who, it's a whole other podcast.
It's a hot topic, hot button topic.
Yeah. She was on Emmerdale. I remember her from Emmerdale. It's a soap in Britain.
But
set
she's
in
only
Yorkshire.
around our age, isn't she? So was she quite young?
She was quite young on Emmerdale. Yeah, I mean,
she's a little bitty thing, though.
She's 5'1".
So she looks. You look at her and you think she's a lot younger than she actually is.
You look at her and you think she should be in school instead of playing a queen,
Yeah.
But really, she's. I mean, if you think about it, all shows take artistic liberty with stuff, and she seems Jenna Coleman plays Queen Victoria with more put together than the actual Queen Victoria was. I think.
Yeah, you think?
I think because there's diaries and stuff. if we look at this now, it's like the real Queen Victoria was said to be a short, vulgar-looking child with bulging eyes.
Jenna Coleman's eyes are a little bulgy, I guess.
I wouldn't say she's short and
big,
vulgar, though.
No. She's a very cute girl.
And she was so portly in her latter years. I mean,
Yeah, I'm wondering how long they're going to carry the series on.
And she had a 50-inch waist, which...
Oh.
In her day.
Yeah.
In her later days,
which was not very Victorian.
And guess what? She was shorter than Jenna Coleman is. She was 4'11".
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then the guy who plays
Prince Albert, Tom Hughes.
Yeah. What do we know him from?
The Game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was in The Game, which was like a spy.
So if we have British viewers, because I'm not sure that came.
He's in the running to be the next James Bond.
Or you know what? If there's a thing called BritBox, I don't know if any of our American subscribers,
BritBox.
I'm sorry, subscribers. Yeah, you guys should be subscribers.
Are you subscribed to us
followers or listeners, whatever we want to call you. I don't know if I've moved on to YouTube already.
Yeah. She's filming and I'm still on radio.
Anyway, I don't know if any of you American listeners have heard of BritBox or have BritBox, but apparently it's like a that's where I got subscribers.
Yeah.
From. Apparently it's a subscription service that you can have, and
you can watch pretty much anything from British TV.
I don't know if it's live TV.
I don't think you can watch. I think you can watch like current shows.
But like a day late or something like that, maybe.
Something, maybe, yeah. I'm not too sure, but I know I've looked at the library they have, and it's like Netflix for Britain.
We are really interested in that, because we do try to keep up with. I mean, we don't watch all the British shows because who's got time for that? But
we've watched all the British shows.
But we do like to have a binge every once in a while and find a
slap up
watch.
Binge at Mrs. Miggin's Pie Shop.
So,
it's a Blackadder reference for our Blackadder people, which is also on BritBox.
Speaking of Blackadder, yeah, we'll have to get back to Blackadder in a second. But if any of you have that, let us know in the comments or tweet us or Facebook or send us an email or whatever. Because we're really curious about how good it is. If it's worth
BritBox,
having,
then send us a tweet or a comment or something.
I'd like to know how you like it.
Because we might consider it in the future because...
Yeah. It looks really interesting, but we just we haven't done it yet, and I am curious as to how people like it if they do have it. Anyway, to go to Blackadder really quick, I don't know what the next thing is that you want to talk about, but
Victoria.
In Blackadder, there's a Christmas episode that you love,
and Blackadder Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and it has Queen Victoria.
Yeah, it's set in Victorian times.
Right. And they portray Albert as this
dummy,
real doofus. Actually, they kind of portray her as a little bit too, but especially
which is something they did with Queen Elizabeth I in the second series of Blackadder.
Yes, that's true.
It's like everyone was a doofus except Blackadder.
That's true. I guess so. Yeah, but me not knowing much about Albert, I wondered if that was what history said about him, and that's why he was portrayed that way. I mean, I know in Britain in general they like to make fun of the royal family.
Oh, yes.
So I know it was partly that, but I thought it was interesting watching this Victoria series with Jenna Coleman because they portray Albert in quite a flattering light.
It's pretty flattering, yeah. They credit him with having a forward-thinking mind. Mm-hmm. And that's funny because, they portray Queen Victoria as a philanthropist. A little bit of a philanthropist, and, for the poor and all that. Mm-hmm. She wasn't really like that.
Oh, really?
No, she didn't care too much for the poor.
Because I assumed she was, because again, in that Blackadder episode, they're doing what they're doing.
All going around and, Mm-hmm. But I don't think she did. I think that was like rewritten revisionist history a little bit.
Is it? Are you sure? I mean,
I'd have to. I'm no royal expert.
The first thing that popped in my mind when you just said that she wasn't is I used to have on VHS when I was little this Shirley Temple film called The Little Princess, I think it was, And at the very end of that, she meets Queen Victoria has come to the hospital to meet all the, I think, World War I vets, or I don't know. I don't know
Queen
what
Victoria came to
I
meet
don't know
World War
I
One
don't know when
vets.
she died. She was very old. She was in a wheelchair.
No, I wouldn't, because she died before World War One.
So
Queen Victoria.
It was
King.
vets from some.
Maybe
in India, maybe
or
it's
the Boer War, maybe
something. I don't know. She's at the hospital with all the wounded vets though, and she's in a wheelchair, and they're portraying her as. I mean, although I guess that's something that queens just do anyway. That's part of like their job, right? So that's not necessarily.
Yes. I mean,
like,
they come and
that's not necessarily like charity or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, scratch that. Never mind.
But yeah, I mean, it's like how they're portrayed. Like even today they go around to like centers for youths and stuff. All the royal family, not just the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do. They haven't got anything else to do. I mean, they've got to earn their keep somehow, haven't they?
Oh, let's not get into that.
Yeah, we will.
We're definitely going to have a discussion about... We'll do another episode or maybe make it a series about the royal family because yeah,
there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, yeah.
I mean, looking outside from in, it's easy to say, oh yeah, they're great and everything's fantastic and it's a historic... And from that perspective, then yeah, I can see that. It's like, oh yeah, they've been around forever. Why get rid of them now? French got rid of them like 14 times, so it's just like...
Yeah, and they're kind of dealing with that in this series.
In the third series. Oh, spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
Spoilers for everyone who might not want them. But yes, it's funny because, they portray in the first series, when she met Albert. If you haven't seen it, we're spoiling it a little bit for you.
Yes.
So you
might not want to listen.
You might not want to listen if you want to watch, but
if you know anything about the history, this is just
the history,
The history.
It's really good. You should watch it. It's really well done.
The costumes are absolutely beautiful, as with most things on. Although I was going to say BBC, but it's not BBC, is it? It's ITV.
It's ITV,
but
yeah.
ITV
and I mean,
Downton Abbey
ITV
also.
did Downton Abbey.
And
you see, because they've got money.
great.
You see, ITV have got commercials, and so. And yeah, what they portray Prince Albert and Victoria meeting,
Yeah.
And it's funny because, in the first series, if you've seen it, they portray her as being kind of in love with Lord Melbourne, who was the then Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, she definitely didn't fancy him.
Oh, really?
Because he was like 40 years her senior, the real Lord M.
I don't know if they, even in the show, they were trying to... She was just sort of infatuated by him.
But she was apparent, according to her diaries, she wasn't. He was witty, but he was like 60, and he wasn't as handsome as Rufus Sewell, who plays Lord Melbourne in the series. And he was, as everyone in their old age was, they were hugely fat. All the men were hugely fat.
That's funny. The ones with money, anyway.
Ones with money. And I mean, he was the Prime Minister, so he had money. It was just.
Well, I mean, the series. Go ahead.
She wouldn't have been in love with him. Really.
Yeah.
But with Albert, they said, she wasn't. Oh, she was irritated by him. He was annoying.
Yeah, but I think she thought he was beautiful.
She said that in her diary.
Oh, really?
She said that in her diary.
Yeah.
It was love at first sight. As soon as she saw Albert, she was obsessed with him. Albert wasn't really too enamored with her.
Yeah.
Because he was the other way around.
She was a bit of a spoiled little, like...
Well, yes.
I mean, that's the way the show portrays her,
She
anyway.
was, well, yes, I mean, she was the, in line to the throne. It's like,
she was a little bit like, stomp your feet, like, I want it the way I want it type.
Yeah. And, she wrote, Albert is beautiful in her diary, because they still have her diaries and everything.
Yeah, we watched some historical, it was an actual, like, documentary.
On him.
And it said how, like, I mean, that's why they had so many kids, because she was, like, hugely into Albert, like, hardcore, like...
Yes, she would not, I mean, they had 9 children.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop,
Yeah.
No wonder he was dead. I think he died, like... 20 years before her.
She's the one pushing out the kids, though.
Oh, yeah, I know, but he's the one. He's the one doing the traction, isn't he?
God.
But yeah, she was just
It's a little royal TMI for you there.
how they managed to produce their 109 children is beyond me, as Blackadder said. The bedrooms at the palace must be supplied with copious amounts of blindfolds.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I mean, she was infatuated with him, but she never. That's funny as well because I mean, they're kind of portraying it in the series as the series goes along.
Just how into him that she was.
She was, yeah.
Yeah,
and
they
also,
don't not.
They kind of downplay it, but also, it's like they had 9 children, and only one of them survived to make king. I think they all died before she did.
Yeah.
Except for Edward.
Right, they didn't die young.
And
They
Edward
didn't die
only...
like little kids, like a lot of people did at the time.
She
but
was on the throne.
She just outlived.
She outlived them all, except for Edward, who was the one who didn't want to become king. I think he was the one who really didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to the royal family, I think a lot of them don't want to. Really, for the most part, I think that they are like, ugh, this is not what I would have chosen, but.
Yes,
it's like a duty,
It's a
they
duty.
feel like it's a duty and they're just going to do it because, like you said, what else do they have to do? They're not going to go, like, run a bookstore, are they?
No. Well, no. I mean, no, they're not. I mean, they can't.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. I mean, even if they wanted to. I mean, supposedly Edward VIII wanted to when he abdicated.
Yeah.
And he abdicated and he married Wallis Simpson and they created but he was a pariah because
This is not the same Edward.
This is not just to be clear, it's not the same Edward. It's
not Queen Victoria's son.
It's Queen Victoria's grandchild, right?
I think. Oh.
God, yeah. I mean,
I don't know. There were a few. Funnily enough, there were a few in between Victoria and the Queen Elizabeth that we have now.
The Queen Elizabeth we have now.
The Queen Elizabeth we have now, yeah. There were a few for as long as Victoria reigned. There were several in between her and Elizabeth.
Yes, yeah. There was Edward, and then he died, and then there was George V. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't love at first sight, really.
Yeah.
For Albert and Victoria, going back to them.
But they did have a lot of kids.
They did, yeah. They had 9. I mean, that was...
And I don't even know at this point in the series how many they have. Like, it seems like
6.
all of a sudden they've got a bunch of kids and...
Oh, yeah.
And she's pregnant again, so I don't really
they're
know
speeding
how much
through
time
it. Yeah.
has passed
they're speeding
in between
through it, yeah.
this series and where the series ended.
Series 2 and then this Series 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, I mean, well... There's going to be, like, international relations with France, because the French are going through a revolution and King Louis Philippe. And, yeah, and there's, like, the Anglo-Afghan War, again, that they dealt with.
Okay.
Which was kind of mirrored in... It was mirroring what's going on today, funnily enough, in the first series.
Mm.
But there's only been, like, well, the 3rd series is currently airing. I think there's going to be a 4th. I don't think they're going to have plans to end it anytime soon.
Yeah, there was quite a gap, though, in between the 2nd and the 3rd. Wasn't there? Isn't that part of why UK viewers were so annoyed?
Yes,
because
there was a gap. There was a year gap. There usually is. There's been nothing for like a year, or maybe 2 even.
Yeah, I think they said they didn't get anything for all of 2018.
And now they won't get anything. I mean, they say early 2019 as a date, as a release date in the UK
maybe in
for
a couple
Victoria.
months.
But PBS has got it right now, and they're airing it,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just have to see if ITV will schedule it, because it may be that the viewership is down.
Yeah, weird.
Which is weird, maybe it's not doing so well that they want to put it on. It's not like Sherlock, or it's not like Downton Abbey,
But I think I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. It's got a loyal fan base. I mean, the UK is pretty much loyal to its.
And it's very well done. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, surely they're gonna release it. Obviously.
Yeah.
I think they say early 2019, maybe it'll be like March or April.
Maybe, yeah.
But yes.
So you have a note here as to whether or not the show is very close to truth. And like I mentioned before, that we did watch the documentary about her life.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know how much you learn about Queen Victoria in school.
I mean, I only knew her in school as the longest reigning monarch.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she reigned forever, and there was Victorian era, and during her reign, obviously things came up. You know, like the Industrial Revolution happened.
Right.
A lot of stuff happened in Britain. A lot of you know, factories, and you know, we even had in school, like in primary school, we even had like Victorian Day, where a woman would come in and you know, you'd have to dress in Victorian clothes, like it was 1895 or whatever, and they'd come in and pretend she was she'd come in and pretend she was a Victorian school teacher.
Right.
So it was very harrowing to me.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like I knew back in Victorian times people got caned, you know.
You were afraid you were going to get
caned? I thought, yeah, I think a couple of other kids did too.
How realistic.
And I thought it was just our school that did it, but apparently this was a thing all over the country, and it still might be, for all I know.
Yeah.
This was back in the 90s, and so she came in and she was very stern, and you know, really stern, and I was just like, oh God, you know,
yeah,
what's gonna happen here? And you know, she'd slap the cane on the thing, and you know, it was really like true to life performance. And then you know, sometimes she'd break character and go, okay, I'm me now, 1990s me, you know, not 1890s me. That's you know, funny. But sometimes she'd go, oh, Master Williams, you've got leanitis. I remember her saying that to me because she'd asked me to stand up, you know, stand up, she'd say, you know. I was just stand up, and she goes, and you know, I just go, oh, what are you doing? She'd ask me a question, whatever it was, and she'd go, oh, you've got leanitis. Because I was leaning on the chair or something, because I pushed it in. And you know, it's just like, well, you know, watching that back in time for school, it was kind of like that, but you know, it was kind of like real.
Yeah. It was just for one day.
Just for one day, or maybe a week even.
That sounds really.
I can't remember. I mean,
I love living history lessons like that.
But I thought it was just our school that did it. This was in Torquay in South Devon in England. But apparently it was like, oh, you know, I go on Facebook and I talk to people who were my age from Britain. And go, oh, it's like that Victorian Day we did in school when that woman came in, and it was just like, you know, I don't know if it was the same woman, but it was like. This woman came in and was acting like a Victorian school mom, you know? And I was just like, oh, you did that too. Everybody did it, you know? It was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I think they give the Victorian era was
from
a long
60s.
It was a long time.
It was half a century.
But they give it a lot of credit for being a very progressive era for Britain, I think.
Well, yeah, as we said, like the Industrial Revolution happened, you know, steam. And that's the thing in the series, they say Albert was like really like, oh yeah, steam trains. That's where it's at.
Way
you
of
know?
the future, yeah.
Way of the future, cars, you know, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And steam was like the steam trains, like they rose to prominence. Coal mining and everything, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with him as far, I mean, if he was like that, because he was very advanced.
He was really German for a start, you know, which he was a bloody foreigner to most people. And you know, I mean, half the royal family is German. If you didn't know, the royal family isn't actually British,
right? You
know, it's not like they're indigenous to Britain. They're actually like half German, half everything, you know, whatever, you know, but mostly they're German because of Albert, the 9 children, you know. Yeah, she married Albert and he was a Saxe-Coburg,
right, because a lot of the kids went off, and so the royal families of other countries, and I'm talking about currently, they're all like Queen Victoria was their great grandmother.
She was the grandmother of Europe.
Yeah.
That's what they call
So, like, the royal family of Spain, the royal family of wherever, they're all related to
everyone.
Victoria and Albert, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty strong lineage right there.
Yeah, that's something I didn't realize. I thought, because what they would do is send their kid off to the other country to marry into. That way they had, like...
influence and power and stuff in affairs. And, because she was the Empress of India, too.
It kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it? I mean, if you're gonna try to not get involved in wars and stuff with these other countries, you're going to try to be at peace with them. It kind of makes sense to, like, send your kid off to marry into their royal family, and then it's like you have actual physical bonds to the leaders of the country. It's just like, no, they're our family. We're not going to fight them. It makes sense. Yeah. I kind of like it for that reason, really.
I mean, it was inbreeding, but it was okay,
Little inbreeding never hurt anyone.
Yes. Blue blood lineage there, my boy.
That was not just a royal family, to be fair.
To be fair, it was Jack down the road as well, He did marry his brother.
Anybody who's ever researched their family tree, I'm sure has found that. Anybody who owned land at any point in the last 100 years even, they did that. That's just how they kept the property within the family.
Well, yes, I mean, that's...
Oh, you can't marry Joe from... across town. You've got to marry your cousin because we can't risk this freaking land, like, getting out of the family.
Going to the dogs, as it were.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything about
Victoria.
I
think so,
I mean, if you haven't seen the series, go watch it. It's really good. You'll enjoy it if you're really into period dramas and all that,
And there's really a lot to it. And actually, I would say supplement it with The Crown.
The Crown, yeah. That's another good show.
Yeah. And then you kind of get, like, the full... If you're interested at all in...
series? Is it The Crown?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can't remember if there's been 1 or 2 series of it. I think there's been 2, actually.
Actually, there might have been 2. And the first 2 had Elizabeth Foy... Claire Foy, yeah. Elizabeth Foy, because she's playing Elizabeth. Claire Foy and Matt Smith as Elizabeth and Philip.
Yeah.
And Philip was recently in a car crash. He was on one of his Jolly Boys outings, wasn't he?
Was he driving the car?
No.
Okay.
I mean, he was...
Because I saw people online going, why was he driving the car at his age anyway? But it was on their own land, wasn't it?
So maybe he was driving. He was like, oh, yes, I'll drive. Oh, yes. And I don't know who it was.
They just said, he's okay. But did you see the pictures of the car? I mean, it turned over.
Yeah.
It's like that was not like a minor accident.
I don't know. Yeah, he may have been driving, but apparently there was some kids or something involved. I haven't read the story completely.
I haven't seen... There wasn't much information when they first put it out. They were just like, he was involved in... The
palace has hushed it up.
He was involved in a... Well, it was on their estate. It's not like it was on...
Yeah, but still,
It's not like it was on...
whoever...
On the Mall in freaking London.
Yeah.
In front of Buckingham Palace, and he ran over a bunch of tourists or something. It was like...
he'd love to do that. Don't even... He'd love to do that.
Oh my god, we better.
That's probably what he was trying to do. Actually, he was trying to get off the estate so he can run over some tourists. Bloody tourists coming here! How dare they? If you don't know Prince Philip's pedigree, go check him out.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, if you have any interest in the royal family, or even if not, even if you just have an interest in history, because it is a historical drama at the end of the day. I mean, it's just kind of revolves around the royal family, but there is a lot of just general history in there. And they have supporting characters, of course, it's sort of a Downton Abbey type feeling.
It's definitely a Downton Abbey
where
type
they
feeling.
Also have like some of her people, the I don't know what the technical
ladies in waiting
are. Yeah, well, the woman who dresses her,
the dresser, yeah,
and then there's like her chef, and
they go through the downstairs part of
the head footman or whatever,
the head footman, and the butler and all that kind of stuff. It's like they show who works for the palace as well as who lives in it, you know.
And you kind of get a little bit of their stories too, how life for them was, because they're living in this palace, but
really they're as common as everybody else, you know.
They've got family who are living in squalor, basically.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. It's very, very interesting. So I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we're done here.
Let us know if you have seen it. Let us know.
Let us know
how you like it.
If you like it,
or if you don't like it, or if you're some big history buff and you happen to know that everything in this show is completely inaccurate and it's all a load of crap.
Give us a rant.
Let us know. Give us a rant. I like that. Tweet us, Facebook us. We're on Instagram. We're trying to crank out a few more pictures per week than we have been. So we're going to try to become more active on there.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
We do have the website is
Buy us a coffee.
www.teaandbuddy.com.
And buy us a coffee.
And our email is
teaandbuddy@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So if you want to email us, if you want to go old school and email us.
Yeah, you've got all kinds of ways.
If you want to get back to the 1800s and email us.
And buy us a coffee. Buy us a coffee. Buy us a coffee.
Buy us a coffee, please. We are thirsty.
Coffee is an online tipping service, and you can just give us a little tip there if you enjoy our content, and that just
and we will thank you forever. And
yes,
we'll give you a shout out.
We'll definitely give you a shout out.
And say thank you, and thank you very much. So we hope you have enjoyed this program on NPR.
Yes. The time now is 12:54.
It's 58, actually.
12:58.
We will see you in the next episode.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday and happy Tuesday. Tuggy, Weggy, and Thurgy.
Beatles reference.
Yeah, there you go. The Daily Howl.
Bye.
Bye-bye.